So with that, we bring in Texas Senator Ted Cruz, member of the Senate Judiciary Committee and Foreign Relations Committee. He voted against the bipartisan border bill today and is leading an effort to pass the House-led H.R. 2 border bill in the Senate, which has previously struggled on the Senate floor. Senator Cruz, thank you very much. Good to have you with us today.
Martha, great to be with you.
I can't help but wonder if we played that soundbite for President Biden, this man from Turkey, he's basically saying, I paid $10,000 to the cartel, but you should know that it's too easy to get into your country. There's no background check. There's nothing. And psychopaths and killers could be in this group. What do you think President Biden would say to that man?
Look, Martha, I'm sorry to tell you he wouldn't care at all. And I know that because Senate Democrats, we have made that point to every single Senate Democrat. They've heard it over and over and over again. There's not a single Senate Democrat who cares. And I know they don't care because every single time we force a vote on doing something meaningful to secure the border, every single Senate Democrat votes no. And they vote no whether it is major legislation like H.R. 2, which, as you noted, I'm leading in the Senate, that would actually fix the problem. Every one of them votes no on that. But they also vote no on smaller things. They vote no on things like Kate's Law, which I'm also the lead author of, that says that violent criminals, aggravated criminals who cross the border repeatedly face a mandatory minimum prison sentence. It was named after Kate Steinle, the beautiful young woman in California murdered by an illegal immigrant who had been released over and over and over again. And when we forced a vote on Kate's Law, every single Democrat votes no. They do not care about the criminals they're releasing, because if they cared, they would stop releasing them, and they have no interest in doing so.
Well, we got a lot of crime going on in the country and a lot of people on the terror watch list. So I hope to God it doesn't take a terror act on our soil to wake people up on this. Here's the border action and election schedule for President Biden. In June, he's expected to do an executive action announcement. And then you've got June 27th is the first debate. So he can walk into that debate and say, you know, I just passed this law and we've already seen the numbers go down. What do you think of that schedule?
Look, I think the entire thing is camouflage. It's entirely fake for the election, for him to pretend that he cares about this issue. Understand how this problem happened. When Joe Biden became president, he inherited the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years. I had worked hand in hand with President Trump. We had achieved incredible success, had by and large secured the border. And Joe Biden systematically and deliberately broke it. All he had to do was nothing. If he did nothing, he had the lowest rate in 45 years. But he made three decisions that caused this crisis. First day in office, he halted construction of the border wall. That was decision one. Decision two, he reinstated catch and release, the policy that when they catch an illegal immigrant, they let him go. You saw with Bill Melugin, those Chinese who are invading this country, they're holding out their passport, they turn themselves in, and Joe Biden lets them go. And number three, he pulled out of the Remain in Mexico agreement, an incredibly successful agreement that had produced the lowest rate of illegal immigration in 45 years. And the results, Martha? The numbers skyrocketed. We now have the highest rate ever recorded, more than 11 million illegals under Joe Biden.
Apparently they don't ascribe to the if it's not broke, don't fix it theory, because you get a lot of headaches off your plate if you just look at, no, this works and that works. But there's a lot of things I want to change as a new president, so let's do those. I want to ask you about the IVF bill that you and Katie Britt have proposed here. There are critics who say that this is a proposal in search of a problem, that no leadership across the country at the state level or federal level wants to ban IVF. And they also say that it's just a boost for the multi-billion-dollar fertility industry. What do you say to that?
Well, I'd say several things. Number one, IVF is miraculous technology. It has enabled millions of parents to be able to bring children in the world, to raise sons and daughters whom they love and cherish and nurture. Every year, roughly 2% of all births in America come from IVF. There are over 8 million babies who have been born through IVF. But what has happened, particularly following the Alabama Supreme Court decision, is there's been a lot of confusion and there's been a lot of fear. And frankly, Democrat politicians have decided it's good policy it's good politics to scare people, to scaremonger, and to tell them that the big bad Republicans are going to come take IVF away. And much of the corporate media is amplifying that message. So I went to Katie Britt, senator in Alabama, and I said, hey, let's you and me team together. Let's draft simple, straightforward legislation that protects everyone's right to IVF, that makes clear that no state can ban IVF, no local government can ban IVF. To the best of my knowledge, all 100 senators in the Senate support IVF, and so this ought to be a bipartisan bill. What we're seeing, Martha, is we're seeing Democrats already saying they're going to block this, not because they object to protecting IVF, but because cynically they want an issue to campaign on in November rather than actually to address the problem.
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but no state or federal body is trying to ban IVF, right?
You are right that there is no threat to IVF because no state's trying to do so. But understand that the Democrats are going to spend hundreds of millions of dollars in the next 6 months trying to convince the voters that Republicans want to do this. And so it's important for us to make clear, look, we strongly support IVF. And you know why the Democrats do that? Because they can't defend their own policies on abortion where they support late-term abortions that the American people don't. So they want to change the subject.
All right. We'll see where it goes. Senator Ted Cruz, always good to have you here. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Martha.